What is going on, everybody? Bills opened up mandatory mini camp. You could just smell the football around the corner, smell the grass, smell the cleats, smell the dirty jock straps. Is that what you're into? I don't know. I'm not gonna judge you, but either way, football's right around the corner. And I got a couple of my guys in the building with me, as always. The NFL pedigree, we like to call him around here. Former NFL running back James Mallory. Miles, what's up, my guy?
What's going on? What's going on? Let's get to it, y'all. Y'all know what it is.
As we know what it is, it's football time. And I got another guy with me today. If you guys don't know him, get to know him. Lee Behnke, wide receiver university. Lee, get people a little background on yourself, man. Tell what you're doing so they get to know you.
I'm a receiver coach at Canisius High School. I also run my own wide receiver university, as you called it. It's just basically refining the skills of the local talent here from youth all the way up to college. And, we just get after it on a weekly basis and, just trying to pour back into what was given to me.
That's it, man. It's all about giving back. That's the Bills Mafia way. And Lee is an avid Bills fan. And, I've actually, I think I finally met Lee for the first time. Well, we talked online, through other years. But I actually finally got to meet him at the Stevie Johnson Exposure Academy. We had a good time over there. I think it was 2 months ago now.
Is that May?
Yeah, about May. So it was Stevie and Donald and then other guys there, and it was a great time. And I saw Lee knows stuff, man. So glad to have him on tonight. We will be joined by Bills beat reporter Muki Hawkins at some point tonight. Not exactly sure when, but he'll be here. You can always count Muki to show up. You got to make him his appearance. So we're gonna let him do that. But big story today, obviously, out of One Bills Drive. Actually, two stories today. One positive, one actually not so good. Obviously, there was a statement released by the Bills on owner and president Kim Pagula that she had an unexpected health-related issue today. They didn't give any more information on that, and we're not going to ask for any. Just going to send our prayers and our thoughts with the family as she recovers, whatever she's recovering from, and then hopefully we get our chief operator back as soon as possible and on the mend. So prayers go out to Kim Pagula and the Pagula family in general. And on the positive note, we saw our guy back at camp today. As we said on this show last week, if you watch it on Thursday, I'm wearing Lee has his jersey on. I got his hat. I got his shirt. I'm showing my man some support. The captain himself, and we're going to call him the captain because he is a captain. That's what he is. Mr. All-Pro, Jordan Poyer, back in blue today. First day of mandatory camp. Not missing a beat. I told you guys last month I got a chance to go out to Florida and actually see this guy work out in person. And I knew his workouts were grueling, but I said from day one, even if this dude missed camp or had to hold out for any amount of time, he was in game-ready shape last month when I saw him. I don't think it's ever been a day since Jordan Poyer has come to Buffalo when he's not been in game-ready shape. And I think, Lee, you can speak on that a little bit more, too, because you actually got to personally see him train a couple of years ago yourself. So just tell me about his training regimen, what you saw, and why, even if he did hold out, you didn't think it would be much of a problem from the field, right, to fit right back in.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a consummate professional in the way he does everything. I mean, whether it be off season, in season, he trains every day like it is the season. And I think that's why, it goes to the old saying, you don't got to get ready if you're already ready. So that's him. He just stays ready. And I feel like the way he trains in the off season is probably a bit crazier than the practices are. And that's not a knock on the Bills, but just the way he goes is just 100% all the time. And it shows on the field on Sundays. And that's why he wears the C on his chest.
Mal, he showed up. He's in shape. He looked good. No surprise there, obviously, as I've praised his training regimen. Now we have Lee back at up. What does this mean for Jordan as a whole? And then, two, what does it mean for the Bills brass? He's here. He ain't giving you a problem.
I mean, that's a great sign, in my opinion. Obviously, we talked about it. He has an amazing work ethic. So, you want him to be around the younger guys. You want to be around Poyer and the other young DBs to be able to, that to rub off on him. With him and Micah Hyde. I mean, those are two tremendous leaders you got in the back end of that defense. So with him being there, man, that just says a lot about what this team goal and the vision of this team. He put the business part aside, excuse me, to be able to come on out and put some work in regards to getting ready, with the mandatory minicamp. So I think it's a great sign. I'm excited about it, man. I was like, I was a little scared he wasn't gonna come, but that's a great sign for the organization.
No, I think it's a bigger sign than what people think it is. Like I said, it's both what both of you gentlemen just said. It goes back to the vision. We see people like Debo Samuel today. He shows up. He understands the vision. We see guys like Kyler Murray. He showed today. He sees the vision. It's tending to show, I think, in my opinion, that teams that are closer to the Super Bowl when are in the Super Bowl window and close to making that championship, they don't want to miss any days because that's a way bigger moment than holding out for a month. 2, it shows that a guy like DK Metcalf, who is not in Seattle right now, their window is all but closed without Russell Wilson. So it goes to show that he's going to put the business before the team because he's not there. That window's not there. The closeness to that Super Bowl, it's just simply not there. And I think the third part of it really is it shows that players, if you historically look at it, players who have held out, it never works out for you in the first quarter of the season. Somehow, some way, I think you said it last year, James, you end up with a soft tissue injury. Maybe it was Clayton Garrett actually said that last year. You end up with a soft tissue injury. We saw it with people like TJ Watt. We've seen it with other guys over the history. It never works out for you. Lee, I wanted you to just talk about the holdouts really quick. And what do you think about as far as when players do that? What is it like on their body trying to come back from that?
I mean, if they're not training the right way, then they're not going to be doing the things that the team is doing the cuts, doing the routes at the speed and that the teams are doing them at. And then also, like, aside from the body part of it, it also can't work out sometimes. Like, you look at what happened with Le'Veon Bell. He held out, and the team was just like, I'm all set. Then he left, and now, rest is history on that. And you look at guys that just hold out, and then they try to make it back, and they're behind the 8 ball. They don't learn the plays if there's a new coordinator. They're not getting that rapport with the guys on a day-to-day basis. Then when they do come back, guys can look at him and be like, oh, he's not for the team. We're not going to mess with him as much.
Right. Mouse.
For me, it's all chemistry. I just look at it from offensive standpoint. With the DK thing, obviously you're going to have a new quarterback there. So you want to get time in together. You want to be able to, eye contact, all that little stuff that people don't think about. It matters during OTAs. During mandatory mini camps, all that stuff matters. I just go back and I think about my senior year of college. Like, just say if I was pros and I held out, I couldn't imagine missing 2 weeks of camp. It's so much ground, it's so much you accomplish in just one practice. So just put 2 weeks of that together, whatever the case may be. And I know from being at NFL mini camps, there's so much that's accomplished in each practice. Like, it sucks to miss one. And I can understand how guys can get so far behind by holding out. So, then again, it is business. In DK's situation, it's a lot different. The man barely make $1 million. You arguably one of the best receivers in the league. He kind of got a point. I can. His is a little bit different than Poyer holding out making $9-10 million. I think that's a lot different scenario. For him to show up and people get hurt in mini camps and stuff like that. And he just say, God forbid, he hurts himself. That, you hurt in your pocket. So his situation is a little bit different for me. But I get what you're saying. But those mini camp reps are very important.
Yeah, no doubt. Like I said, it's no surprise to me that he's there. No surprise that he showed up. I figured he'd be there. Like I said, there's been nothing about Jordan Poyer over his 10 year here in Buffalo that has said anything in his characteristics that he would not show up. There's nothing in his character that says, I'm not going to work hard. I'm not going to be there for my teammates. And that's the biggest thing. Not one thing that he's ever done has screamed, I won't be there for my teammates, or I'm going to put myself above this team, which is why, like I said, last week, the Bills brass needs to do the right thing. Meet him in the middle. He wants a little bit more long-term security. He's been here. He's one of your first 3 signings, I believe, or first 4 signings. I believe the first 2 were Tobert and Pat DeMarco, if I'm not mistaken. And the next 2 were Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer. He's your all-pro. Give him a 2-year extension. make about half of it guaranteed, meet him in the middle at about 11.5 per year. It'll be 2.5 up a little bit, a little pay bump. He's earned it. He deserved it. He's been there. He's been your guy. So take care of the guy. Glad he's back, ready to work. But moving on to another topic that I wanted to talk about, actually speaking about mini camp, obviously this is a time where the roster starts to shape. We have some battles heating up, and over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be talking about a lot of battles that are going to be going down in camp, because obviously, as you know, last year I think was uncharted territory for most of us as Bills fans over the past 20 years, where you had people getting cut that you thought were really good players. You couldn't figure out this first 53 very easily. You had to let some people go. One of the guys I want to talk about is second-year defensive lineman Carlos Boogie Basham. Now, obviously, we know Boogie didn't play much last season. He had played 8 games. He had 2.5 sacks. He had 11 solo tackles. He played. They actually activated him for the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken, which was very interesting because they didn't play him all last year. Now we have to ask ourselves, are the Bills taking an AJ Epinesa type of approach with him? And the second part of that question is, can we see Boogie Basham beating out AJ Epinesa for that starting defensive end spot? Because they've already talked about AJ and his work ethic. They love his work ethic, but they also mentioned confidence. So we'll see what happens with that. But James, I'm coming to you first. Boogie Basham, what do you think the expectations for him is going into year 2, especially with Von Miller being there now?
I think they're ready for him to take a big step. Him or AJ, one of them got to step up this year. Hopefully both. That'd be great for us. I don't think none of us would be arguing here if both of them take a huge step forward. But I mean, you got to become ball. I mean, you were drafted high. You're a second-round pick. So you got to bring it. And he even talked about his approach. His approach wasn't there. He admitted it. He said, I didn't bring it every day. So now he knows what they expect and throughout the NFL season. You got to understand, a lot of rookies, their season is over if they play in a bowl game early January, late December, right? Immediately you go right into training for the draft. So you're going to training, you got the combine. After combine, you got the pro day. After pro day, you got the draft. After the draft, you go right to rookie minicamp. So these dudes honestly been playing football for a full year. So a lot of them, that's why you see a lot of rookies, they call it that rookie wall. I mean, you nonstop football. You get what I'm saying? So it's like it's no time really there to properly rest your body. So I think you'll see a different type of Boogie Basham this year. I think he'll come and ball out. I like what I've seen, the flashes I've seen from him. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do this season.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he didn't play much last season, but you could see the flashes in the time that he did play. And that's one of the things why I question about the AJ Epinesa, because in JJ's rookie year, I can't remember too many flashes that we saw. And last year, I thought he was going to take the step, but now we know he got injured. But like I said, the first ability is availability. And if he's going to get put on the shelf, Boogie's going to slide right in that spot. And let's not forget, Boogie's very versatile and going to the 3 tech as well. Lee, what do you got on my man Boogs? Year 2.
Touch on what you just said, what I had written down. He's got to be able to be rotational, play the end and also play inside, especially the way that this D-line set up and all the personnel groupings that they can do. Like if he can be a force in the run game, I think is where he'll really excel. Be an athletic inside guy that can also, get some inside pressure, have the QB roll out, have Von or Greg get them on the outside. I think that's where, you'll see him succeed. He might not have those crazy numbers, but he could be an impact guy, like exactly how Oliver was. He didn't get the crazy stats, but he was also generating a lot of pressures and, blowing up a lot of plays. I think that's where he'll be able to step in, just be a plug and play guy, third down, get in, rush the passer from the inside, push it to the outside.
I just kind of wonder, because obviously when we go back and we look at the Bills' handling of AJ Epinesa, where we found out that his regiment was, they brought him in, they wanted him to lose, I think, 20, 25 pounds. And then they bulked him back up a little by 10 to make him a little bit more athletic. And it almost thought to me, like I always thought last year, I'm like, well, are they doing the same thing with Boogie? Because it seems like the Bills, let's be honest, they have a type when it comes to these defenses now. Like I said, Sean McDermott spoke on it last year when he, after drafting Rosso, after taking Basham, that they wanted bigger defensive linemen, longer arms and things of that such. But it brought me to question like, hey, what do they do? What's the regimen of Boogie? Is that what they're doing? And it seems like it's a little bit in between. They wanted to get his body together, his health together the way they wanted to see it, but he also spoken, like you said, James, he wasn't fully ready. He didn't prepare the right way. What do you guys think that bringing Von Miller in will do for his work ethic? Because we saw him in a picture with Greg Rousseau at Von Miller's elite pass rushing camp. I believe it was a week ago or 2 weeks ago. What do you think that does for a guy like him, James, as far as mentor? Because we saw Von Miller have a mentor in Denver himself at DeMarcus Ware.
It make you step your stuff up. Period. You know what I mean? You got one of the best ever to do it right here. Listen, if that don't motivate you, because and Von Miller is known to be a leader as well. He's not like one of those quiet guys. He's known to be a leader and push his teammates to get the best out of him, right? He brought a lot. We know Aaron Donald, in my opinion, Aaron Donald is the best D tackle to ever play football. Anybody that debate that, you can need drug test them. But anyway, so I mean, they already had him, but he brought a lot more to that defensive line. So I think he'll do that here in Buffalo. He's going to push those young guys. And if that can't light a fire under you, you just ain't got it.
Lee, Von Miller impact?
It's going to do the mental thing, like James just said, which I think is going to be huge. And then the physical part of it, I mean, Von's going to come to Aaron Donald level attention on a day-to-day, which is going to free up guys like Ed and Greg on the outside and even Boogie when he kicks in there or whoever the rotation is. So he's going to command the respect the way Donald commanded it for the Rams, which freed up Von to be able to eat all season. And I think that's the effect he's going to have physically.
Yeah. Got a guy in the building, man. Mookie Hawkins, Waffle 1080.
What's up?
Better late than never. The grand entrance.
Right?
What's going on, brother?
It's been that type of day. It's been a good day, though.
Good day. Good day. Hey, every day is a good day. Were you out there before we're on the topic of Boogie Basham, and I'm gonna let you get your thoughts on that in a second. But since you're here, were you at the One Bills Drive today for the opening day of mandatory minicamp?
You know it, man. You know I was.
All right, want to give us some observations of what your observation, what you see out there today?
I've been sworn to secrecy to not keep everything G14 classified.
No, man.
No, but I'll say this. I mean, the hype is real. I can say that. The hype is definitely real. I mean, seeing that back end with Poyer and Hyde back there, definitely balanced everything out. So, offense is the offense. It's a lot of weapons on the offense. It's a lot of positional situations. They'll have the necessary pieces in any. They're gonna have variety when it comes to situational plays. And they have a play. They have a personnel to be in just about any personnel group and they want to be with superior athletes, in that personnel. So, I mean, right now, just the eyeball test, a good eyeball test. I understand that there's no pads on, so, but it definitely is, the hype is definitely real. It's not really hype, you know what I mean? It's just what it is. When you look at a team, the Buffalo Bills, they've been to wild card experiences, they've been to divisional playoff experiences, they've been to AFC championship experiences. Now, moving forward, I think they brought the necessary pieces within the draft and the free agency that makes this a much better roster than, that divisional playoff game. So it's definitely passing the eyeball test right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that we know what the expectations is. If there's been any season in Buffalo in the Sean McDermott era where it's been Super Bowl or bust, this is it right here. There is no we need to get over this hump of Kansas City. There is no, we need to win a playoff game or win a home playoff game, or we need to get to AFC Championship game. No, it's Super Bowl bust. You're playing in the Super Bowl come February, or the season is a loss.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole L. And I think that personally, just on the outside looking in, I know later on down the line we'll get into schedule predictions and things like that. I want to see, how the dust set. I don't want to get no blind schedule prediction and someone pulls up tape me and say, you said they were going 11-6, and some crazy things that happen down the line. But I think we have the right mentality, and like you said, I think we have the right pieces in order. When you look at this roster, I can't go for position to position and say this is where we're weak at. And the scary thing is the last couple of seasons, when you look at your 22 starters, you can say maybe, or if you see any weaknesses, when you got to the depth, you saw weaknesses. That's something that I can definitely say they corrected. Just speaking of that, James, if you had to pick one weakness on this team right now, what would you think it would be? And it may not be a weakness, it may just be the weakest part of this team, which may still be a quality spot.
The weakest position, I would probably have to say linebacker.
Okay.
The depth there, I don't know how confident I am with it. I mean, obviously we top heavy. Tremaine Evans, I'm a huge fan. Matt Milano's a baller. So, I mean, if we got to pick one, I would say that's a weakness. If God forbid one of those two go down, it's like, damn. I think that would probably be the position.
Lee, what would it be for you?
I was going to say the same thing, linebacker. Okay. One of those two go down. I mean, you got some young guys there to step in, but can they really fill the shoes of either of them two?
I think we saw it the other year when they both went down. We had to put Tyrell Dotson. Not that Dotson played bad, but there was definitely a big difference there.
T-Dot's good. It's just, I mean, you got Milano and Edmonds. I mean, those are two guys that, they command that whole middle of the field. I mean, and Tremaine Edmonds is essentially the quarterback on defense.
Right. Mook, I don't want to ask you too much because you say you G14 classified, but
you can shoot. Yeah,
what do you think? What would you think that right now the weakest part? Because I mean, I'm with these gentlemen. I think I was going to say linebacker as well, and I was going to speak to the depth as well on that same topic.
Well, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm gonna have to agree with him as well. I mean, when you look at Bernard, he does flashes of what Brandon Bean said. It's very instinctive. He's sneaky athletic. I mean, he can cover, but his strong suit is more or less wreaking havoc in that box, shooting those gaps, and getting tackles for losses, just being disruptive as a blitzing linebacker. And they're going to develop the cover skills. I mean, because obviously it's a different transition in the pass game from college to pros, so that's always a development process. So I don't know, man. I mean, you got to understand something. When a team has been in the same defense, since 5-6 years, then they can be more advanced and play a little bit more aggressive. You know what I'm saying? So look for the Bills defense to definitely be a little bit more aggressive than usual. With the pieces that they got up front, obviously, right? So. And that says a lot. That says a lot. I mean, when the front is getting pressured, then you're getting tip balls, you're getting interceptions, you're getting them off the field. So, I mean, a lot has changed from a number one defense, and I don't think nobody really catapulted the Bills from a defensive standpoint on what the pieces they brought in during the offseason to say that they're gonna get the Bills a run for their money. Obviously, let's not forget, that this defense was number one, some may say on default, but they fixed that problem with a revamped defensive line, and we all know the game was won up front. So it's real exciting to see those new pieces what the Bills brought together up front to go along with Poyer and Hyde with the, with a good problem they got in the secondary with the rookie learning on the fly.
Got it. Before we get too far, and I want you guys to know, so if you're watching the show, make sure that you like, you share, you subscribe, you retweet, whatever platform you're watching it on. You can find it on Spotify, on Anchor, and it is brought to you by Checkers. I want to get an announcement here from some of my friends over there at Bills Mafia RX Group. They're actually going to be doing their big fundraising raffle to send 8 sick or disabled Mafia members to Bills home games this season. They're going to be selling tickets for this event for $30, one ticket for $30 or two for $50. and there are only going to be 400 tickets sold total. So I'll give you guys a little sneak peek at some of the grand prize. First grand prize is the VIP game experience with 2 tickets to the game, to the Bills versus Titans Monday night game. It'll be a night accommodation at the Hampton Inn with a limo ride from the hotel to the game and $500 of spending cash, including the jersey. Nice. So and the other things include $500 cash, $200 cash, two authentic Bills jerseys, and they're also giving away a PS5 with the Madden package with the disc and new Madden 23 now? We're gonna do Madden 23 upon release. So make sure you get over there. If you guys got any questions, contact Marcy Brolock, Lori Bradley Todd, Bob Todd, Aaron Quattrini, Sarah Jones, or my man Robert Gardner over there. So make sure you guys give the Bills Mafia RX and give them a shout and help them with a great fundraiser for a great cause there. But yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. Like I said, I want to see how hard these practices are gonna be, because these are gonna be some competitive ass practices that they have. Huge competitive, very competitive practices that they have. People fighting for jobs. And like I said, we were talking about the Boogie Basham earlier, and I want you to touch on that before I go back to Poyer to see what you saw today on my man JP there. What do you expect from Boogie Basham this year, Mook? Is this a guy, can he possibly step in and actually take AJ Epenesa's starting role?
I don't know who said anything about AJ starting.
He left starting, so I'm just going to assume that, right now he's just penciled in. I could be wrong.
He left starting. Where he left starting?
Oh, wait a minute. We got Von Miller. Wait a minute now.
Von Miller and Rousseau.
I forgot. Okay, correct. Yeah, and Lee just standing there smiling. He didn't even correct me.
Hey, I'm letting you run with it. I'm trying to see where you're going.
We're just that deep, though. They just that deep. They just that deep. So it's a good problem to have up front, and that's where all the excitement lies at. Because everybody's excited to see what Shaq and Jordan Phillips going to do the second time around here in Buffalo, to go along with those pieces. Y'all just mentioned. Them young Bulls. What they going to do. You got Von Miller grooming them. You got Ed Oliver, who's emerging into his draft status. There's high expectations this year for him. So. Like I said, they got a nice rotation. They got probably the best rotation they ever had in a long time as a defensive line unit. So, we're just excited to see the combinations and how they're going to move those guys around like chess pieces to make plays in every situation.
This is probably the first time that I'm actually cool with the platoon, because I remind you guys, I am not a platoon guy. I've never been. I never have been. I'm just not a fan of it. I forgot, James. I don't think you were a fan of either in the past. The platoon that they ran. You are?
I don't mind the platoon system. It's a method to that madness. I'm a fan of it. Even coaching youth, I do it. I rotate them dudes. Because fourth quarter, my dude's gonna be fresh, and we're gonna bring that funk. I'm a fan of it. I like to keep those fresh legs, because you don't rotate offensive linemen. They look like, dude, another body, another one. Like, it wears on you, And if you can keep Von Miller fresh, and then if we can rotate that dude, and he's fresh in the fourth quarter is number one, and then fresh at the end of the season, the playoff run, man, it's a wrap.
And speaking of it, like I said, we've talked about it before, Von Miller's numbers. Obviously, in Denver, he was playing around, I think, 79% of the snaps per game. And actually 77. So when he went to Los Angeles last year, he played about 79. I'm expecting in Buffalo, regular season wise, I'm expecting that number to get as low as 70% of snap count.
I think 65.
You may be right. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's going to go lower, and then playoff time is going to go up, because for him, this is going to be probably the best. This may end up being the best defensive line that he's played with, and that's hard to say because he's played with some damn good defensive lines. James, I just want to come right back to you, because on the AJ Epinesa tip a little bit. This is one guy that you've been saying all along for the last year and a half that you think he may be the odd man out. Because he has trade value. He may be the trade bait guy.
I think so. Because when you kind of look at it, is let's do numbers. I'm assuming Shaq Lawson is going to have a strong camp and he's going to make the team. So if you were Shaq Lawson, Russo, Von Miller, Boogie Basham, that's 4 right there, right? So you mean to tell me so somebody gonna be either gonna be inactive, or you gonna, if that's the case, you might as well have an undrafted free agent who flashes in camp, have him inactive every game instead of AJ, where you can have some trade value with him. That's just my thinking. I could be wrong. I could sound crazy, but and then you can always get a veteran to stash on the practice squad as well. But that's kind of my thought. I mean, if he don't pop this year, I mean, you might want to look to move him and see if you can get some value.
Lee, what do you think about that? I mean, who do you think, like, right now, like, who do you think AJ Epinesa could possibly be an odd man out if he doesn't show up early in camp?
Yeah, I actually had him getting moved in a couple of pre-draft mocks that I did. I had him getting moved. He was the odd man out. I mean, to James's point, there's 4 guys in front of him, and he's not as versatile to move inside like those other guys could if need be. He's more of a slender build. He's strictly an outside guy. So I kind of had him moving anyways. So, I mean, if he's not going to make the roster and they can foresee that now, I mean, get what you can for him.
Yeah, because, I mean, really, when you think about it, out of those guys, he's probably going to be the only one that has trade value outside of Boogie Basham. Obviously, you're not going to think about moving Boogie at all. And Shaq is costing you little or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So he's
going to bring energy.
Yeah.
He's going to bring that. You're going to bring that swag too.
Uh-huh.
The locker room. One thing you always heard about Shaq Lawson, no matter who you talk to, if you talk to anybody inside the Bills organization, is the locker room, the culture he brings with inside that. And I think that's one of the things the Bills want back. I think the fact that he's going to show up and he's going to throw hands on game day, but he's going to keep everybody loose during the week. I think that's huge. You know what I mean? Mook, AJ Epinesa, what you got, man?
Well, I don't want to say shit to get off the pot, but I mean, I think he just got caught in the bad time. Like, first you come in with COVID, so you missing valuable development time on practices, and it didn't have a preseason. On top of that, you paying Jerry Hughes and Mario Addison top dollar at that point in time, so those guys going to play over you, you know what I mean, in reference to snaps and stuff like that. So I think he just kind of like got a raw deal, the business side. I don't think that he's not. I think that he's good, but it's just now that you're going to see that in training camp. You're going to see that out of Boogie. You're going to see improvements out of Espinoza, Rousseau, and Boogie Basham. So, which one probably potentially can have more trade value if they don't keep all 3. I mean, so I don't think it's really a rush to do anything now with them. I mean, when you just mentioned it's those 3, and then what? You got Shaq, that's 4, and then you got Von Miller, right? So that's 5 edge rushers. And normally the Bills carry good, 7, sometimes 9. You know what I mean? Defensive ends. You know what I mean? So it's going to be pretty interesting on how, they shape this roster this year and maintain depth at important spots on the roster.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I go back and forth, but then I'm also in the business side of it. If you can get value for somebody, you take the value you can get before the value runs out. And I guess all you guys are former coaches or players. And current coaches and former players. I guess my question would be, can a guy like AJ Epinesa, can he fall off the wagon during camp with so much competition around him? And I think that's something that I don't hear anybody asking that. Can competition make you break too? Lee, I'll come to you first on that.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think where he'll fall off is he's not going to get the reps that some of the other guys will. So I guess that's what you do with those reps. But at the same time, like, I think those other 4 guys in front of him are just going to, be the guys. I mean, I think it's just that cut and dry.
Mook.
Well, I mean, competition breeds confidence. I mean, that's why, me being a former recruiter, I want the best players. I want the best roster possible. So I want a plethora of talent. I don't want just one or two guys, because if they get hurt, your season is fried. You know what I mean? So, especially when you're dealing with kids, you gotta understand which one has the hot hand, and you gotta ride that thing out. It might not be that kid's day that he's your number one back, but it ain't his day. You know what I mean? So somebody else gotta step up this week. So you want to get that mentality early, you know what I mean, in those kids, and then as they grow. Because guess what? When you go to college, everybody is an all-state, all-city player where they're from. You know what I mean? So that's the competition factor. And if you ain't used to competing for a spot, then, you're going to be in the transfer portal every year, and, you're not going to make it. So, I mean, that's going to let you know what you're working with. I mean, who's willing to compete for a spot, number one? I mean, that's just like number one, right? Like, who's willing to go hard and put that extra time in and be that guy. So, I think that Espinoza can do it. I mean, Boogie Basham gonna fall. Who knows? You know what I mean? But they both have trade value either way. You know what I mean? Either way, those guys both have trade value. You know what I mean? So we'll just have to see. Training camp is going to tell everything. You really can't determine nothing from OTAs, especially today. I mean, this is the first time that everybody was there. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, that's why training camp is going to be so must-see TV, because this is going to be giving the Bills fans a first crack at what this team actually is going to look like publicly.
Yeah, don't blink. You may miss something. Mallory, pressure burst pipes.
Yeah, I mean, if you got a dude that folds up under competition, you got to get him out there anyway. He's just not that dude. You know what I'm saying? If you got anybody who you compete in and he just crumble, he's not just not meant for the NFL. Because soon the day you come in is the same day they're looking for your replacement. So if you're not ready to compete every day, like day in and day out, if that competition isn't going to make you better, you might want to go out there, look for, a job that's, use your degree, because NFL not for you. If you're just not built to compete, or if you're going to complain about competition, go find another occupation. This NFL is not for you.
Right. I mean, I guess everybody can't run around being Tate Martell, but that's a different story for a different day. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, I'm sorry to throw the man's name out there, but when you talk about lack of competition and running from competition, the first name that comes to mind is Tate Martell.
Well, don't get me started. That's a trend nowadays.
Yeah, you damn right it is.
I mean, look at the transfer portal.
Crazy.
I mean, just look at it. It's ridiculous the amount of kids that's in the transfer portal. And a lot of them, they get pissed off because their school recruits somebody at their position. I was an All-American my junior year, and Coach Mack brought a junior college running back in to compete with me my senior year, and they brought a JUCO dude in to push me and compete. What I was going to do, crumble? I mean, no, I told them they wasted their scholarship money because his ass going to be on the bench. I mean, that's my dog, but I said, that's on y'all to blow a scholarship. He gonna when I need a break, he'll come in and give y'all 5-7 carries a game, and then he'll be. That's it. I mean, you got to have that confidence in yourself. To anybody that come, you got to beat them out. So that's the type of dudes that you, like Muki said, you got to have them type of dudes on your team. If you don't got them type of dudes on your team, you got cats. You don't got dogs.
Right. I mean, yeah, and you ran your way all the way to the Tampa Bay Bucks, and it is what the rest is history. But no, I mean,
he's my guy though. I don't want to come out wrong. He's my guy.
No, I mean,
he was the backup.
Competitors understand it is what it is. Competitors understand. Lee, did you want to add something before we move on?
Now they hit the nail on the head with all that. I mean, competition breeds success. Iron sharpens iron. If you're not about it, then you got to get it moving.
That's it. Bills Mafia is not for you, and don't take our chicken wings on your way out either. Leave them. Don't take them with you. Can't take them with you. But yeah, one of the last topics that I did want to talk about tonight. Like I said, we ain't gonna stay on air all night tonight. We're gonna build this thing up as the Bills build up, and this is around the time of year that we always get that random notification. Whether I don't know if you follow Twitter, which is toxic as hell. If you are on Twitter, make sure you retweet this in your toxicity. um, if you follow ESPN, if you have the Bills app, this is around time when you get that random notification. The Bills have extended ... And you're like, oh, because obviously we know one thing about the Bills. They work in complete silence at all times, and we really never really knows what's coming. The only thing that we knew was coming when they did it was the Josh Allen extension. So they said they were going to do it pretty much.
Start with number 5.
But obviously, I think the other year it was Deion Dawkins. Then came Trey White. And then last year we got the surprise notification for it was Teron Johnson, who I just knew was out of here. Yeah, I know you're gonna say
that dude's a baller,
me.
man. You know how much he would have got on the open market? You know how much he would have paid that dude in the open market? Just think about this. The extensions. Deion Dawkins, just think about these extensions with Deion Dawkins, Teron Johnson, and Josh Allen. Every single one of those is a steal right now. Every single one of them. Think about how much. Well, obviously, Josh Allen. Think about how much Teron Johnson would have got on the open market. Think about how much Deion Dawkins is worth right now.
Yeah. Not $13 million per year at left tackle. I tell you that. You know, Muki, what you call him?
Who?
Brandon Bean.
The burglar? The burglar.
Bean the burglar. And it's funny because the other day I actually thought about Muki because every time I think about Being the burglar, I die laughing, right? And I thought about that. And just to say these guys were at the contract that they should have been at, right? And I think the Bills are sitting somewhere around like what, $6 million in cap space right now, something like that.
About 5, 6.
Yeah, about 5, 6 million. So if Deion Dawkins is sitting around 13, he really should have been around 17. And that's not top dollar for his position, but that's where he should have been at. That's an extra $4 million. If Trey White would have waited, and I still to this day say he should have waited for Jalen Ramsey to sign his deal because you always wait for the top guy to set the market so you get more. Trey White could have been sitting at 20 because Jalen Ramsey at 22, 23 is lower than him. That's another $3 million. That's another $3 million per year that you're adding. Teron Johnson really could have hit the market. He could have got 10 to 12 million per year if he really wanted to. That's another $4 to $5 million added. This is how much money that Brandon Bean has saved the Bills by getting this deal done. And God, poor Josh Allen. If Josh Allen wanted to ask for 48, hell, if Josh Allen wanted to ask for 51 and say, I want $1 more million Mahomes just to say I'm $1 million more worth than him, he could have done that. So kudos to these players for taking a little bit less too, but also Brandon B got these deals done early and behind the scenes. So when we talk about that, I really want to talk about who we think that the next guy to get a contract extension will be. You obviously have Dawson Knox. You have Ed Oliver. You have Tremaine Edmonds. You have Devin Singletary, who James mentioned earlier, possibly. And also, no one's talking about, but you still got Jordan Poyer. Although I wouldn't consider that extension. I was
going to say, can we not include him in it?
I wouldn't include him in that because that's not a significant pay raise for him. It would be just a little bit of a pay bump. So I wouldn't include him in this when we say big extension, because if we took him to 11.5 from 9, we're only talking about $2 million, right? James, I'm going to come to you first. Who do you think is the most likely to get an extension and the least likely at this point, sitting at this point in time right now? Obviously, we know things are subject to change.
This is a tough one for me. I'm thinking Singletary, but something tells me it's gonna be Tremaine Edmonds.
Okay.
I think they're gonna pay him. I think Tremaine Edmonds is gonna come up, and I think it's gonna come at a steal. Because what they'll do is they're gonna, what Brandon Bean gonna do is he's gonna put a contract in front of him, and before that season start, that dude gonna say, am I gonna walk away from this money and gamble? Give me that money. And he gonna play in front of that D line this year, because people are not talking about that D line enough. What they did on that D line is crazy, man. It's crazy. So you need to pay him now, because he's gonna have a breakout season. He's gonna have a huge season. He's gonna price himself out. So I'm thinking it's going to be Tremaine Edmonds. I'm gonna have to go with him.
And least likely.
Dawson Knox.
Okay.
My personal opinion, I think OJ Howard gonna be the tight end next year.
Okay.
Not that I would love. I'm a Dawson Knox fan, but I look at it from a numbers point. of you. You know, if you you look at the numbers on everything, I don't think he gets paid. Especially the role that the tight end play in his office. It's an important role. But if Jordan Howard comes out and play, even show flashes of being a top 10 pick that he was, they're gonna wait bye-bye to Dawson Knox.
Well, you know, fans ain't gonna like to hear that.
Yeah, but I
They
mean,
ain't gonna like to hear that.
let's be real. A top-notch Knox and top-notch OJ Howard. Yeah, OJ Howard's a better player in that situation.
Ooh, interesting. That's that's something we're gonna have to revisit later on to this conversation as training camp is going. Lee, who do you think?
I think more likely to get it is Edmonds, just like what James said. I mean, I got some notes written. I mean, he's the captain of that defense. He calls the plays. I mean, a lot of people don't like that. They like to, knock him for things. But also speaking to James's point, that D-line has been so bad that runners have been able to get to that second level with no problem getting to that level. And then it's going to rely on him every time. And then you see, he gets broken down or ran outside on. And people are like, oh, Edmonds is terrible. But it shouldn't even get to that level. He should be there. He should protect his zone and do his thing. And he's good in the passing game. He's athletic and rangy. And, I think that he's a guy, and he will show it this year. And I think least likely to get it is Singletary, just because, I mean, it's just because how running backs are viewed in 2022, 2023. It's not a knock on them at all, but, it's easier to replace that, I feel like, right now than it would be Oliver Edmonds, especially with bringing in James Cook. And then, I guess maybe see what happens with Moss. But I think it's those two.
Yeah, I can't disagree with those. Make good points. Muki, what you got? Who the burglar gonna steal from this time?
I think Devin Singletary gonna probably be the first one to get an extension.
Why? Because the cheapest,
right? That's one,
okay.
Right? And then the Bills. I mean, it's all about continuity too. Like, if I can get this guy and offer him a 3-year, $12 million extension, he's gonna take that. You know what I mean? Anywhere between three to 4 million, he's gonna take that. Just stick around, have a role in this offense. And you figured Zach Moss under contract, James Cook under contract, obviously. So by the time it's time for you to pay one of those two guys, then you can, let Singletary test the market, or if you feel the business side needs to take place in the end is to save you some money, then you can do that too. But I think he gives you the cheaper option, and for much more of an advantage because he's been there. He's been the starting running back for 3 years right now. So you don't want to get rid of that when, how they say it's cheaper to keep him. So I think Singletary can get a contract right now. Those guys, like you said, Jay, $5 to $6 million of cap space. So they could sign him right now if they want. They can go ahead and give him that in 2 years. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I would say that. You can't throw Ed Oliver in this question because his contract isn't up, So the least, I didn't want to say Poyer, so
yeah. I'm gonna leave Poyer out of this one.
The least right now, I have to say, is Dawson, but I don't think Dawson is going to demand what Njoku got. I think Dawson go more like a Milano type deal to keep the continuity going. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, sometimes that continuity is and familiarity is more valuable than just going somewhere and getting back. Just look at Jordan Phillips and Shaq Lawson. Just imagine what his defense could have been if they just would have just paid them the same money that they paid Starler Toure, the same money that they paid Mario Addison, and give it to those two guys. Where this defense really would have, been, with those two guys, not taking that absence, so you got to look at all of that stuff. So I'll say Devin Singletary probably be the one to get the extension. Dawson Knox is going to take a minute, but he'll sign. He's not going to, I don't think he's going to break the bank because, where are you going to go? And that's going to pay you. It's going to be, a shitty team. Let's be honest. I don't think you
Like
want to do
say,
that.
what did we say last week? There's always a Jacksonville or a Jets out here.
Man, to go from there to there,
ready,
just man.
ready to
I
swipe the
want to
credit
rock them
card.
buttons.
Go over the limit.
Solid.
Mm-hmm. So okay, so I guess I'm a little indifferent on this one, right? And I've been thinking about this. I don't think it. So my heart tells me that Tremaine Edmonds would be the first one to get the contract extension, right? But then again, I thought about Devin Singletary, and to your point, Muki, I also thought the same thing. Well, this would be the cheapest option, and I know for a fact that the Pagulas love Devin Singletary. So, anybody has any questions of who loves Devin Singletary, the Pagulas love Devin Singletary. And if you ever met the guy, it's easy for you to understand why. He's such a humble dude. And I mean, honestly, and James talked about it before, the work ethic that he's put off the field is just phenomenal. What he's done to his body in his first 3 years, it's just amazing. It really is. He sculpted himself. So then I went to it and I said, well, what's the Josh Allen factor in this? Because now we know that Josh Allen has a lot of input. And I'm not saying he's going on banging on doors, but Brandon Beane has said that before they make certain moves, not all moves, they do contact Josh and say, hey, what do you think about this? So then my mind went, well, who's Josh going to keep around? Well, obviously it has to be Dawson Knox's tight end, you know. They do the prom poses, the fingertip thing, and that's his red zone guy, right? So after going through this 1,000 times, I thought that the most likely guy to get a contract extension would have been Tremaine Edmonds. Now, if that's a mistake or not, I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't know how much it'd be. But you realizing it, we saw what CJ Mosley got on the open market the other year he had free agency. If middle linebackers hit the market at that age, which they normally don't, they get paid. A lot of times it is a mistake, possibly. Look at Jacksonville and Joe Schobert. Look at the Jets and CJ Mosley. Although he played good last year, you're paying him off or not because your defense ain't really doing anything. Like I said, not saying I agree with it, just saying that's who I think the top dog would be in the contract would be Tremaine Edmonds, because by also giving him a contract extension in this season, particularly in his 5th-year option, you can also lower his cap hit. And I think I think me and Lee were talking about this a couple of months ago, that end of the day, you can lower his cap hit by about $4 or $5 million just by giving him an extension this year. Mm-hmm. And we know how important it is for the Bills. And if you look at their history, it is very important for the Bills to roll over at least $4 to $5 million in cap space every single season. They do it every year. So we know that $4 or $5 million, when you relook at it, that's a J.D. McKissick who they didn't get. You know what I mean? Those type of signings, they matter. So then I thought about who's the least likely guy. So for me, the least likely guy to get a contract extension was Ed Oliver, because we're all expecting a breakout year for Ed Oliver. We all love what Ed's done, but in reality, we got to see another whole season before the Bills commit to that, because we know how expensive D linemen are. They're extremely expensive in this day and age, especially with everybody dropping back, throwing the ball 40 times a game, and you have quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson out there that can make your life miserable. And we see even Patrick Mahomes, who's not as agile as Lamar Jackson, made your life hell with old-ass Mario Addison, old-ass Jerry Hughes chasing last year. We saw that. So this is why people pay for it. So if I had to guess, the number one top dog for the contract extension would be Tremaine Edmonds. My least likely would be Ed Oliver. But then I also brought in the question is, if you pay Tremaine, can you then come back and double back and pay Ed? That's a lot of money allocated. You've allocated $120 million to Von Miller at this point. You've allocated $80 million to Tre'Davious White. You just re-up Micah Hyde the other year, and you're probably gonna have to re-up Jordan Poyer unless you're willing to let him walk. And I don't see a replacement on this roster for him yet at this point in time.
Ed is under contract still.
I understand that.
2 more years, right?
It's 2 more.
Yeah.
2 more. It's this year and next year. Yeah. But you're gonna have to get that deal done sooner or later, because as you guys allude to other people, the longer you wait, if he puts those back-to-back 10 sack seasons, you have a big-ass contract on your hands. Lee?
No, I was just saying it goes up. It's just gonna keep going up.
Right. The price of inflation.
Yeah. The price and the demand for the position, like you said, it's going to keep going up.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think about my James? I come to you first. I mean, what do you? I don't know. It's a tough topic.
You know what I think it. I guarantee you, I don't got the numbers in front of me, but if you kind of look at the contracts, right, I'm willing to bet that third year they would give Ed that extension, or that third year of Von Miller's contract, the year they give Ed extension, I'm willing to bet that it probably drops that year. So therefore, you're not investing as much cap wise. Line, am I correct?
Well, yeah. Well, Von's deal was was I think essentially, and I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, it was like a 3-year, like $60 million deal essentially when you took the guaranteed money out.
Yep.
So yeah.
So what I'm saying is that third year, his third season, will be the year Ed Oliver contract extension would kick in. I'm willing to bet that number is pretty low. That cap number is pretty low to make it feasible to be able to sign Ed Oliver. If you were to look at the numbers, I know you the cap guy, JT. I know you about to talk that talk. I already know. You got that look on your face. That look in your eye.
I mean, it is possible, but you also have to think about too. You're gonna have Deion Dawkins coming back up because you only signed it was only a 4-year extension.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have Deion come back up. Then you have to throw in the play of Gabe Davis. Now, personally, I think Gabe Davis may be a guy who may end up playing his way out of Buffalo. I think he's going to be an absolute stud. And I just don't think there's any possible way that you could end up paying Stephon Diggs the money you pay him and then give Dave Davis another 17 to 18 million per on top of it. Don't get me wrong. I think he's going to earn every single penny of that money. But I think that's a position you got to look at. If you do re-sign Dawson Knox, I know Mook said that David Njoku, the Bills won't have to worry about that. I kind of beg to differ on that one because obviously we've seen how the business in the NFL works. Now, I'm not saying Dawson Knox to say, hey, I get to get more than Njoku, but obviously, and I'm sorry, excuse my language, the kids are watching, it's kind of late, you shouldn't be up anyway, but the stupid-ass Browns, they messed up the damn market again. They messed up the quarterback market, and they messed up the damn tight end market, all in one offseason. And actually, you could say they messed up the damn cornerback market too.
Uh-huh.
They keep messing up markets everywhere they go. You gave a dude $42 or $47 million who's been often injured. You had on the trade block for 2 years, 2 straight seasons. Then you refused to move him when you had the chance. Then finally he comes in after you signed Austin Hooper to probably the richest contract in tight end history. You brought in Harrison Bryant. Then you mess up the damn tight end market with David Njoku's deal. I would have said we probably could have got Dawson Knox back for like $34 million about a month ago. Now, I can't say that. Just messing everything up. And then you went and paid your quarterback, and I won't name him, $230 million guaranteed. Thank God we got Josh Allen signed.
Yep.
Before that deal. They're idiots. Them in Jacksonville are idiots. They always have been, and they always will be. And you will never be blessed with a Super Bowl. Neither of you. Just saying. Just saying, man.
Talk that.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Like, what are y'all doing?
Like I said, the Browns is the Browns. They're just chasing it. They're chasing it. They're chasing the ticket sales, the big names. Hey, man, I don't know. I've always had a thing against the Browns. I don't know. They're just they're always chasing something, and whatever their front office is doing, they're messing up for everybody else. But I'm gonna sit back and watch and laugh.
Well, don't get me wrong. I always liked the Browns. Like I was a big Eric Metcalf fan growing up, right? Mm-hmm. And Eric Metcalf and Eric Turner, 2 guys I really liked watching play. And I always felt bad for the Browns. And even though the Bills had a sack in this sack race too of being bad, I always felt like if we were the last two kids in the sack race, and it was 9 kids, the Bills were 8 and the Browns were 9. So I had a right to feel a little bit bad for them at the time. Now, when you're doing stuff like this, I don't feel bad for them. I don't feel bad for them at all. So either way, I mean, that's why I kind of picked my list. If you guys are watching, go ahead and tune in and tell us who you think would be the highest priority and the lowest. We'll see what happens. I just think that when it comes to Tremaine Edmonds, to your point, I think that no matter what the analytics say, whether how you want to read them, if they're good, if they're bad, whatever you want to read into it, how you feel about him, Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott seem hell-bent on keeping Tremaine Edmonds. I think they've said it in more ways than one. They're hell-bent on keeping him as the leader of their defense in the middle of their field. And all around, they've never really said that he's played bad. That's funny, right? Muki, have you ever heard them say that he's played bad?
Not literally, but you read in between the lines.
Mm-hmm.
They know his best seasons and his worst seasons. So, but yeah, normally the Bills, they got to make themselves right? I'm not drafting this guy to, develop him from somebody else. And that's what the Bills used to do, for 17 years. But this regime pretty much, got it right, So he's the quarterback of your defense. So I don't see him not getting an extension. I just don't see that. Worst case, they can franchise tag him, for 2 more years after that if they want to. And he can't do anything, But, it's just the nature of the business. The Bills, I'm quite sure they got something strategic in the works on, potentially signing everybody. But it's going to take that one player to take that discount to make it work. And it could be Knox. I think Knox take the discount,
I hope so. Or he could go back home to Tennessee if Austin Hooper don't work. I'm just saying that's something no one's talking about. He loves being in Nashville, man. So just saying. Lorenzo Alexander once told me that all players, even if it's one season at the tail end of their career, wants to play in front of their friends and family at home. That's why I always said Gronk was going to come back. And we were close. We were real close. But I'm cool what we got. We got his
over.
Huh?
It ain't over.
It ain't over. It ain't over. But
I'll take Gronk.
Oh yeah, man. That'd be nuts in Buffalo. You know how many Gronk jerseys? You know how many Gronk jerseys are selling in Buffalo?
You know how many extra broken tables too?
Please, that Gronkowski family out there in the tailgate. Oh my God.
Man.
But Mook, one of the things I want to talk about, you were not on the show earlier when we first started, but I just want to see get your thoughts really quick on obviously the return of Jordan Poyer today. You said it, I said it. I think we all three of us said last week that he'd be here, and obviously he was here. It's no surprise. What did you see out there from Jordan today? I mean, I know he's game ready. I got his stuff on. I'm just saying.
Well, he looked like he hasn't missed a beat, I'll tell you that. He looked like he's been working out. He's been training down there in Florida. Mm-hmm. And, he's all in. I mean, at the end of the day, he's going to probably get that bump. Not sure what the extension is going to entail, but it's definitely going to be a bump. You know what I mean? Throw $2-3 more million to make him one of the highest paid safeties this year. And then, they work on, trying to see if he want to finish his career out as a Bill. But, I mean, even if they do give him a 2-year extension, Bills win the Super Bowl this year, they could potentially release him because, okay, the ultimate goal has happened, so we got to start freeing up some cash. You know what I mean? That's the other business side of it, but it keeps everything in sync just in case if it don't happen that way. So, especially on the tail end of his career, he at least want to lock himself in with some stability and, still get an opportunity to play for a championship. So, that's, it's a double-edged sword. Bills know that. Poyer knows that. That's why he's at camp. You know what I mean? Who's going to hold out right now when you're favorite to win the Super Bowl? So, some things you sacrifice, and, if you love football, you'll be at OTAs anyway. So,
as Keith Sweat once said, nobody, baby. No one's going to hold out right now. This is the wrong time for that, man. But, no surprise there. And like I said, I had no idea he was going to be back in Buffalo. So, don't worry. Like I said, he's in game shape, man. No doubt about it. He could put on if you want to see somebody work out, Jordan Poyer put a clinic, man. I got tired just watching the dude. So, but yeah, guys, I mean, I thought this was a pretty good show. I mean, any final thoughts on as the Bills open up mini mandatory camp, and then I mean, we be right there for training camp. I mean, it's right around the corner, man. Lee, you are our guest tonight. I'll let you go first. And you got the floor.
Just want to see how that D line shakes out. I know it's a point of emphasis on the show tonight, but I'm really interested to see who takes what position on the interior, because there's guys like Tim Settle and Daquan Jones as well. Interested to see how they end up.
Yeah. All right. Muki Hawkins. What for 1080?
I want to see a little bit more how I want to watch the rookie. I want to watch the rookie tomorrow on how does he handle coming back, from today's practice. I mean, he played well, but I mean, like, just to see what he learned and what he got better at immediately. They say he's cerebral like that. So I just want to see how he plays, with the potential ones out there. They went at him. He got beat by Tanner Gentry. Then obviously Stephon. He's going to learn a lot lining up against Steph and Gabe this year.
Yeah.
But with this defense, I'm telling you, with this defensive line, he got his chance to play a little bit more to his strengths today. So, as the OTAs progress, you get to do more and more things. So, they have one more day. And then, got 30 days to get whatever you got to get out your system and get back to work for training camp. And that's when things get real. Pads get to popping, and, the tail of the tape is going to begin for those roster spots. But, yeah, I'm going to look at that. Once again, like I said, I love the run game. I love what they're doing in the run game. That was going to balance out this explosive offense because, I mean, you can't double everybody. And with the run game being, that's going to, get 5 to 6 a crack at will. You don't know what the backs are capable of. So I just want to dissect Coach Dorsey's offensive philosophies. I want to say juggernaut at this point because, I mean, there's so many multiple sets.
Have you ever seen an offensive coordinator? Have you ever seen an offensive coordinator come into a job with this many weapons? Year one?
Yeah, I was one. Yeah. I was one. So come at those type of weapons a lot, Yeah. Not on that level though, but I asked Josh that today. I mean, was this the most weaponry he had in his career? And, he kept it a buck. John's always keeping it a buck. He got a lot of damn weapons, man. I mean, there's going to be some potential starters or some solid role players not making this roster. You know what I mean? And that's when you know that you do have a sign of a Super Bowl caliber team when, you got guys that could potentially make a roster getting cut, from this roster. So,
right.
Can't wait to see what tomorrow brings, though. You know what I mean? I think I'm going to get a one-on-one with Tavon Austin just to, pick his brain a little bit, you know what I mean, on this team. You know what I mean? Everybody want to be a part of a team that's on a Super Bowl run. So, that would, that'll definitely make you want to get up for that. You know what I mean? So
right.
We'll see. We'll definitely see. So I'll get the one-on-ones with him tomorrow and ask him a couple questions.
All right. Mal, final thoughts, man.
My final thoughts, man. I want to see who win that punter competition.
Oh, okay.
I'm excited to see that because you got the rookie with the big leg. You got Hack, the veteran, right? So I want to see how that's going to shape up. And I just want them to gel. And I just want everybody to compete. See how that D-line rotation shakes out. That's going to be interesting. And also the depth on the offensive line. We just signed a new lineman from the Jets.
Yeah, Greg Van Roten.
I'm ready to see what the depth on that line, how that shakes out as well. So the big boys up front, that's what I'm excited to see. And then obviously Josh got all those weapons. Hopefully I want to see Tavon Austin win that returner job as well, to be honest. I'm not going to lie.
Right. And it's funny, and I got a question for you before we get off. As an NFL player, right? At this time of year, what are you thinking? And then obviously you have mini camp, it's over, and then you go home for a little bit, right? And you get ready for training camp. During that time, what is the thinking process of the player, and what do you think that most players' philosophy is to getting ready? The ones that actually care.
Don't get cut. But guys, work hard so you don't get cut. You know, no, but seriously, no, just come prepared, man. Just make sure you work hard and train daily, man. You can't take no days off in regards to your preparation and getting ready for camp because it's I can't put into words how difficult it is. So you just got to make sure that you prepare that you put your body in position to succeed, meaning you train the proper way.
Right. No, good, man. I think, like I said, I think it's always good to ask you those questions because, a lot of us don't have that experience to say, okay, hey, well, what is a player thinking at this point? We can kind of guess, but we don't know for sure. So, but no, final thoughts is the Bills are they're ready to go. I think that 13 seconds, and I don't want to keep mentioning it, it's gonna bother them. It's gonna bother them all year, but I think it's gonna leave a chip on their shoulder. Like I think it's a lot different than when they lost to KC the year before, where they came back with the chip strictly for Kansas City. We're gonna get over this hump. We're gonna beat these guys. You know what I mean? This is different. This is you let this slip away, and then you watch Kansas City in the AFC Championship game literally blow the game versus the Bengals to go to the Super Bowl, and then you watch the Bengals in the Super Bowl blow a lead late to the Rams to lose Super Bowl. So you can only think, in my opinion, that hey, that could have been us every step of the way, and we may not have blown those leads, and we could have hosted a Lombardi last year. So I think that they come back, they're ready. It's a little different mentality than it was last year. I don't think they need any extra motivation. Like I said, I think Jordan Poyer showing up today amid some contract, disagreement there. It shows what this team is about. It shows where the vision, it shows what the mentality is. It's no surprise. And also something else I was thinking about today was Kyler Murray is in a contract dispute, right? But he showed the minicamp. Mandatory minicamp, I should say. Lamar Jackson finally showed up to mandatory minicamp today. Aaron Rodgers has lost Devontae Adams. Patrick Mahomes has lost Tyreek Hill. And Tom Brady is Tom Brady, but he is a year older. Things are shaping up for Josh Allen to possibly be the top quarterback in the NFL this year. Let me repeat that for you. Things are shaping up for Josh Allen to be the top quarterback in the NFL this year. And while other teams are still trying to build up their defenses and get weapons around the quarterbacks, they put offensive lines in them, the Bills are adding layers, as in Jamison Crowder, drafting Shakira in the 5th round, adding a James Cook, who I know James is high. Me and James were both high on ETN last year for these same purposes. Adding a OJ Howard. The Bills didn't lose anything. They're probably one of the only teams with a top quarterback in NFL that added more pieces around them. The Browns added Deshaun Watson, and they add some pieces to go with him, but we won't have to worry about him playing this season because that shit is all about over. Excuse my language. Allegations went from 22 to 26. He's gonna have to. I'm not saying he did or he didn't. I'm just saying he's gonna be sitting down for a year. It just was gonna happen. So things are looking up and up for Josh Allen, and yeah, man, the Bills brass did their thing. But I want to thank my guest today for coming on. As always, Bills beat reporter Muki Hawkins. I know you're busy at work, so stay in touch with us, let us know what's going on, and then we'll be back next Tuesday. And my guy James Mallory, NFL pedigree, and we'll catch you. We'll catch you next Tuesday. I'll be back next Tuesday. We'll be back on. We'll see where the Bills are at. Mookie, how many days of mandatory?
Thursday's the last day.
Thursday last day, and then they take a break till
I think July 20, either the 23rd to the 26th is one of those three. They got to start earlier than usual because they play Thursday night. So I think they're going to give them at least probably 3 to 5 days to start early than everybody else. So
was there anybody? There was nobody not there today. Nobody excuse today, right? No stars or two.
Everybody's there. Everybody's there. Only one that didn't participate due to little soft tissue injuries was Spencer Brown, Tim Harris, and there was one more. But other than that, everybody Everybody's there 110%.
Everything, and continue. We as we always do, continue to shout out to that Bills training staff, best training staff in the NFL there.
Oh yeah,
but then, guys,
Kumar was the other guy.
Okay, as always, guys, thank you for tuning in. I'm your host JTM, and this is nothing personal. It's just Bills. We'll catch you next Tuesday on your Tuesday touchdown. Thank you for tuning in. Like, share, retweet, love, and spread the love. Catch you guys later. Peace.